What's going on, guys? Luke here with Wilson Auto Detailing, and today I'm doing some paint correction on, believe it or not, Gary Vaynerchuk's old Land Cruiser called the V Cruiser, okay? So this is actually gonna be put on display at the next VCon. I'm gonna be driving it up on Thursday, but I'm doing some paint correction here, very minor paint correction, because the black paint on the Land Cruiser is really not in good shape, and so we just wanna bring some of that gloss back, remove some of those surface level swirl marks before we put a ceramic coating on this. But I wanted to talk you guys through my process of how I'm thinking about actually doing this, because I want to keep this to a one-stage polish, a one-stage paint correction, but I do want to make sure that I'm getting some really good results as well. And so let's take a quick look at the paint so you guys see what we're dealing with. So you guys can see as I've got the light on this fender, this is basically what the paint looks like all the way around. So like I said, you've got tons of swirls down here, so it's really not in good shape. Okay, again, this was like Gary Vaynerchuk's daily driver, I think, when D-Rock was filming him from this back seat here. Obviously, you guys can see there's tons of swirl marks. As I come up here, you got a bunch of freckling, a bunch of, you know, etchings, all that sort of stuff. There's even some touch-up paint in some different areas, but I just want to give you guys a good idea of the before of what we're dealing with here. So here's my initial thought with what I think I want to do here. Like I said, I want to keep this to a one-stage paint correction, and so we're going to see what kind of results we can get on this by doing a few test spots. And the reason I think this is valuable for you is because whenever you're dealing with a vehicle, whether it's Toyota, Honda, you know, a Bugatti, Mercedes, Kia, all that sort of stuff, yes, there are rules of thumb of, you know, what kind of results you can get based on the soft or hardness of the clear coat, but oftentimes it's better to just contextualize it and say, what exact situation am I in? So the reason I'm using a microfiber cutting disc right here with a very small foam interface is because this is gonna be kind of my attempt to make the more finishing polish that I'm using a little bit more aggressive. So rather than using like a black foam finishing pad, this will probably give me a little bit more ability to remove those surface level swirl marks. And the first polish I wanna start with is from Coke Chemi. This is their F601, and it's just a fine cutting compound. And basically out of a scale of 0 to 9, it says it's a 6 cut, and out of 0 to 9, it's a 7 gloss. So the idea that I'm thinking here is, well, let me use a 6 cut, 7 gloss, right? It's relatively high cut, but even relatively higher gloss, and maybe I can turn this into a one step if I've got a relatively aggressive pad here, and of course my technician's abilities of making sure that I can get kind of a flawless finish here. So all I want to do is prime the pad. We're going to do a very short cycle time because I want to see how quickly I can get on and off the paint. So I'm just going to prime the pad here really simply by just getting a little bit of the polish in the microfibers. I don't need to overuse it, but I'm actually just gonna take it again with my glove, rub it into the microfibers here, try to go every direction possible, and I'm just kind of wetting it, honestly, kind of getting those little fibers that are standing up straight. Now, I'll let you guys watch from the sidelines here of what this looks like, but I'm gonna go very middle of the road, speed about 3,600 out of 4,500 RPMs. That'll give you a bit of an idea. I'm gonna stay on this side here, and I can see a bunch of imperfections in the paint, like I said already. I mean, this is not gonna be a showpiece, but I'm just trying to see, can I take out some of these surface level swirl marks? So let's see what we can do. I'm gonna dab just a little bit more polish on the 12 o'clock area, the 6 o'clock area there. Here we go. Now there's a couple things that I did here intentionally because I'm trying to get a gauge for the rest of the car if this is the polish I want to use. I'm not taping anything off because I don't really want to take the time to do it, and because of this particular type of polish I don't think I need to, and so I went over these edges and like these body lines pretty specifically because I wanted to see how much of that white kind of chalky residue of the polish builds up in there, and to be quite frank, it's not actually all that much, so I'm trying to gauge my cleanup a little bit, and the results that I'm getting are actually pretty nice in terms of the swirl mark removal. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So a couple things to check out here. Number one, swirl marks have been removed like at a pretty high level, which is great because that actually didn't take very long. I did again a very short cycle time. Now a lot of that has to do with just the type of, you know, paint correction that I tend to do and that I teach, but I want to show you guys a couple things here. Kind of hard to see in the camera. You can see all that freckling, but you can see up here in kind of the peripheral lights, this part has been essentially repainted, and you can see some of those drip marks, and it just doesn't look very good, but this is kind of what touch-up paint does. You can see all in there. It's almost as if, it almost kind of looks like a pigtail, and that was there again before I did anything. You can kind of see it almost looks like a spring was taken to this. You hit it like with the side of a slinky or something, and this often happens from somebody doing some not so good polishing, but this has actually been touched up. That's why I can see the little pigtail marks are actually sealed into the clear coat here, so they're underneath. So somebody put something on top of that. But the point is, the swirl marks are really gone using this strategy, which is fantastic. And so here's what I want to do now, and to be frank, I'm shooting this video video because I just want to be honest with you guys. You know, a lot of times on social media, you can see all this fancy stuff when people are doing paint correction in their garages. And in a lot of ways, I think about paint correction as like, what's the easiest way to get the result I want, not like what's the longest way I can spend on the paint. And so I like this polish, this fine cut polish, but I'm thinking to myself, can I get even less residue or like less dusting with the Sonax Perfect Finish? Because this is a out of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out of 6, it's about a 4 out of 6 cut and a 6 out of 6 gloss. And so this might pair well. It kind of sounds like I'm talking about like white wine pairing with chicken or red wine pairing with steak. This could pair well with the microfiber pad that I'm using and the approach that I'm taking. And I want to run the pad over this edge where there's a crack between essentially where the door jamb is. And I want to see, do I get a bunch of white residue in this crack and is it easy to wipe out? Because over here, I didn't get a bunch of residue, but I wonder if I can even keep it down that much more and if I can get a good result with this. So let's just compare these results side by side and we'll see kind of what happens. Now, I want to bring you guys in here to show you the after result here, and really this is the same result I got with the first polish. So if I move over here, and then I move over here, I really can't tell any difference. And what you see is just some really high gloss. You see the swirl marks are gone. You can see that the paint is starting to bend in the light, which is, you know, really what I want, or the lights are bending in the paint. And really from any angle, it looks really fantastic because we took the swirl marks out. So here's what it looked like before. You get that hazy swirl mark appearance all around here. And we move over. We've got really clear paint with some random isolated deep scratches and a bunch of other paint imperfections. And I would show you the dusting that happened across, you know, inside of here and of course inside here, but I really can't show you that. The camera doesn't really pick up on it. Now, the reason that I show you guys this video is because I feel like it's a real world expectation you can have for even really nice cars that this one's literally going to be put on display at the VCon conference. And there are only so many things we can do with it unless we want to sand it all down and send it to a body shop. And so really the paint sets the rules of the game, and I, as the artist or the technician, have to work within the rules of that game. And so I'm able to couple, like you would couple, you know, a fine wine with steak. I'm able to couple the right polish with the right pad in this situation to create a one step so I can save myself time, because why would I want to spend more time than I have to, and get the results that are the maximum results anybody's going to be able to get by doing paint correction on a vehicle like this. So guys, hopefully this is kind of a real world conversation about paint correction, and it's kind of just how to think about it. I thought I would shoot kind of a documentary video of just in real time how I think about doing certain things with different clients of mine in the studio garage here. So if you're interested in any of the products or tools I mentioned here, they'll be linked up in the YouTube description box below. And hit the like button if you like this style of content that's just on the fly and where I'm just kind of talking through, documenting the thought process behind all of this. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. And from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you in the next video.